Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, as we start the conversation, my name is Demiano Masesa. I work with the Center for Constitutional Governance. I head the programs, and I'll be the one taking you through the conversation today. And to be an afternoon like this that we are having this conversation, but the background of this conversation, we're going to discuss on the budget framework of Mbale, and the taxation regimes and provisions that you have, that you're using and you're deploying in the city. The conversation is reclaiming civic space for self-influencing for Mbale City. And in this conversation, this is a program that we are doing. We did it as a flagship for the newly created in Uganda, but we started with Mbale to see how well we can use our advocacy to allow for the people to be able to self-influence and be able to see if we can have Mbale City as one of our flagships cities that we can benchmark on to see if we can use the same model of engagement for the other cities. As a city, how best are they using their resources? As a city, where do they get their resources? How are they using their resources? Are the resources reaching the right people? And all the dynamics that are around governance and the planning of the city. It is this conversation is in support with Oxfam, and we're trying to see to it that we have the best of this conversation. If you're not speaking, you'll help try to keep muting your audios so that we can have a good conversation. Okay, and to start up into this conversation, we have the budgeting for the new city, and we've been into the year of the budgeting, the season of the budgeting, and now we are almost rolling into the implementation, or probably we've even rolled into implementation. I want to bring on just Lunyoro. You're the Secretary of Finance, and I know you are partly in one of
Yes,
you've been close to the budgeting process of the city. You've been following, you've probably been making quite a lot of inputs. I would want to just speak your mind on what have you budgeted for into the financial year. You may not go into the details, but we just want to get the key highlights of those major areas that you've budgeted for. Probably which areas have you left out that you think could have been areas of interest if there was funding, extra funding, and in there, what has been provided for into the budgeting process and this financial year? Can you just briefly run us into that detail?
Thank you so much. In Mbale City, I want to go straight to the proposed priorities that we have budgeted for this financial year 2023-2024. And we are looking at the roads. The priority number one are roads, then a bad shape, like we had floods, and therefore we are going to work on roads maintenance and other mechanical maintenance, stone pinching, drainages. We are priority number two is street lighting. We want our town to shine. We want to see that the lights are on, and we want the greening of the city. We want waste management, cabbage. Those are the problems. Waste management, cabbage. We want the cabbage to be managed. and we are looking at prioritizing. We prioritize the cabbage privatization so that we can manage the cabbage. And then where we are lacking, like you said, what are we lacking that is not in the budget? We wanted to look at the purchase of road equipment. We are having no equipment to manage the working on these roads. So we are really looking if we can get some finances, some funds from partners who can assist us so that we can purchase road equipment. It's a big problem in the city, and we can't work on these annexed roads if we don't have those equipments. We have not even worked on the roads right now because we don't have the equipments. The Ministry of Works promised to bring us the equipments, but up to now they are on the way, they haven't reached yet. So, and then there is a building in the city headquarters here, an old building that we want to complete because we don't have office space at the city. And therefore, we are looking at a donor, a partner who can come in and assist us in completing this structure. Those are the two. And then purchasing vehicles. All the departments in the city, we don't have a single vehicle to do the monitoring of the works in the city. Those are the major things that we need money so that our budget can be at least it can serve the city, we can serve it properly, we can do the service delivery to our people well.
Okay, quickly, okay, thank you very much, Lunyoro, for highlighting some of these areas. And maybe in your budgeting, where have you pointed out as a source of funding into these budgetary needs? What have been your areas of resource mobilization? Where do you think this money will come from and all?
The areas of funding, we are having, of course, central government transfers. Under that, we are having discretionary government transfers, conditional transfers, other government transfers, and then local revenue, our own source revenue. And then from donors, we have those main revenue source, central government transfers and local revenue, and then donors. Those are the revenues we are the sources we are looking at.
And of all these, who is your biggest, who has been your biggest contributor onto the budget?
And definitely it is central government. Central government is the biggest revenue source we get from central government.
And has it been so effective?
And local.
Looking at the previous budget and now, have they met all your budget needs from the time you say you've budgeted? Have they always come to met the budget needs as allocated?
Definitely they haven't. There have been some cuts, budget cuts, definitely from the center. So we've not met the needs of the bill, of the budget as projected. Yeah.
Okay.
And even under local revenue, we've been having challenges that we don't realize the projected funds that we always project, and therefore the works that we do are little.
Okay, interesting. I want to just quickly bring on Emily. As the deputy mayor, do you feel that the budgets as pointed out, or including the priorities that Lunyoro has pointed out, do you think they meet the needs of your people right now?
Thank you, Damian. Once again, I'm Emily Namarwa. the Deputy Mayor, Industrial State Division Council, Mbale City. Is it okay if you can please read for me the question again?
No, I wanted I was asking, do you think that the priorities as shared out, or looking at the budget, because I'm sure you've had the opportunity to look at that budget, do you think that those priorities as pointed out in that budget will meet the needs of the people of the city as it is? Or do you think they left some aspects in the budget that probably could respond to the immediate needs of the people and the city?
Thank you, Simon. I mean, Damian, as Madame Fradia has stated, the priorities of this city are the roads, the street lighting, the garbage management as a city. Once those ones are put in place, obviously, as those are the key infrastructure, especially the roads and the lights. We are still a very urban area, and once the roads are not worked on, it means the movement of people and goods will still be a challenge. So we are sure that once the roads are worked on, our people who are still the peri-urban, who are doing their farming, transporting their goods to the city center, will be easy for them. Those who are still operating as small businesses in the centers around the city, once we also put for them the lights, they will be in position to continue doing their business until late hours of the night. And we are sure that will be a contributing factor to a stable and growing city. However, the other areas that we are looking at, like also supporting agriculture production, since we were majorly joined by the former sub-counties that were in the rural, farming is still going on. So as a city, we are also looking much, especially through the parish development model. We want to see how we can also, as a city, add on what the government is already doing to ensure that production and value addition is done so that our city is supported from all sides.
Thank you very much, Emily. I want to, but I'll get back to you at some point. But I want to bring on Aloysius. Aloysius, just take us through. Probably, if someone wants to know or the issues of budgeting, the framework, or what could be the key issues that probably one could look out for while budgeting for a city like Mbale, what could be those key priorities, and probably how then do you ensure that these resources are really well mobilized, and also which are the most adequate tax regimes that you can deploy to ensure that you can probably get some resources to finance the budget? It's a mouthful question, so you could choose to see how to break it out.
Thank you very much, Damian. I want to start by saying that I'm not an expert in the budget, but the fact that we are looking at issues of domestic revenue mobilization, we also factor in how we allocate, utilize, and account for the revenue generated. Before that, I would love also to put a question before I start.
Turn on your video just for.
Before I start, I would love to put a question to my sister from the secretary, who was talking about the fact that they didn't realize what was projected in terms of local raised revenue. And to me, the question is, what informed the projection? Because at the end of the day, what informs the projection is the sources of revenue you have, in terms of even having a comprehensive revenue register, which informs you how much you're going to collect and what you expect to collect. There are some challenges of which you have to factor in, but at the end of the day, you have to know that according to the total number of people who are paying taxes, or which I have on my comprehensive revenue register, I'll be in position to collect this amount of money. So to me, I would love to understand that one, but also even to understand why do they have a challenge in terms of meeting? Because if you have tried to identify the loopholes or the tax leakages that are happening within the city, then you will be in position to address those loopholes to be able to generate adequate revenue. You talked about because at the end of the day, you have to have the revenue in place to be able to project in terms of the budgeting. I don't know how Mbale has tried to appreciate one of the key local revenue source is the property tax. I don't know how you have been able to prioritize property tax. We know there are some challenges in collection of property tax, but at the end of the day, we know that if we are able to have proper assessment in terms of property valuation, we can be in position to collect adequate revenue, because it is a source of revenue where you have, most especially in urban authorities and cities, you have all the opportunity to collect revenue. You have the resources. What you have to look at is to ensure that you have proper data, which is going to help you to collect the revenue, but also ensuring that you have, at least in the law, they are saying that if you have taken, you can take what they call a supplementary evaluation for 2.5 years, and be able to add on those ones who were not included due to the development of the city or the urban authority. To me, if the city authority can prioritize the property tax, the others can just come in to add on what they are collecting, because that is one of the cash cow for local government or urban authorities, where they can collect adequate revenue, but also ensuring that technical people and the political wings are working together, because you find that while the technical people are trying to ensure that they are compliance among the taxpayers in property tax, some of the property the political guys are against the efforts of the authority. I would love, because while my sister was trying to present, I would love to hear some of the challenges they are encountering, because that's when you'll be in position to address those challenges. The other issue is on the markets. We have several markets, and we know that due to the elevation of Mbale from municipality to the city status, there were some annexes. In addition to what you had, there were some annexes, which gives an opportunity for the city to have a reasonable source of revenue in the different areas of, for instance, markets. They can be official markets, but also there can be other markets that are happening seasonally or like frequently in weeks or during the day, depending on how you structure it. But you find that some of the local governments have failed to do prior assessment to know how much can be collected from a market due or for a particular market. You find that they just give, as my sister was trying to say, that they want to prioritize prioritize the garbage collection. You find that that one can be okay, but you find that some of the local governments we have been working with, they have failed to do prior assessment of how much they can collect from a particular source of revenue. And that denies you how much you're supposed to get. And the others are just using it as an opportunity to exploit you. So to me, I think if there is prior assessment when it comes to the markets, those that are formal and those that are happening, depending on how you arranged it, then you'll be in position to collect some revenue. And this can enable you even to meet and exceed the targets which you are setting. Because when you look at some of the cities, they have a lot of opportunities in terms of collecting more revenue than others, because there are several sources of revenue that are not tapped into, even beyond, because they have been given the opportunity of expanding beyond where you have been operating at the municipal level. So to me, I think if those two sources of revenue, the property tax or property rates and the market dues, are given priorities, in addition to others, you might find that Mbale City can generate more revenue than you are collecting now. So to me, I think you need to check yourself in terms of the sources of revenue you have. How do you ensure that you can generate more revenue? Because to me, I think you haven't utilized those sources of revenue to be able to give you what you want, in addition to the others.
Just right there, I want to just pick your mind. If you're saying you've highlighted out these sources of revenue, but usually there's a challenge of creation of the city. Then there's what goes in to say you need to give sessions of orientation. You need to have those talks with the people. You need to inform them of the new changes and the structures that are happening in the city. That then probably would allow you the opportunity to go into asking for the taxes. But also, I want to know what would then inform the kind of, or how much would you levy for example, what informs that the rate that you would impose on say property tax, but also how would you, for example, a villager, a person deep down in the rural setting that is used to picking their farm products and walking into a nearby market that is not taxed, and these communal markets, I don't know whether they get there's a tax that they impose on them. How do you then tell them that, okay, because of the new changes into the city, the dynamics of the city would require that you pay this much? And also, what informs that much that you impose onto them? Or how do you come up with these figures? Yeah.
Thank you, Damian. When it comes to property tax, according to the law, the law gives the local council the opportunity to set the rates, which starts from 1 to 12%. So it is the council which is supposed to determine how much they can charge, being informed by the property valuation. So if you have the property valuation, then you can determine how much you can charge depending on the development within your jurisdiction. So they should also use the council to be part of the local revenue or the urban or the city revenue mobilization. So the council should understand, but also even be given an opportunity to be part of the system. So to me, the rating is going to be influenced by the council, and the council should also engage the planner. They should also engage the commercial officer, because they know what is happening at the local level where these sources of revenues are. The other issue of the process, actually, when you look at the process, there is one of sensitization and mobilization. And when you look at some of the local government we have engaged with, there is a challenge of inadequate allocation of revenue towards revenue mobilization. The budget for revenue mobilization is too little. You are expected to collect like 10 million, but you are giving the revenue department like 2 million. You don't have bicycles, you don't have motorcycles, you don't have receipts, because not everyone has tried to integrate into the digital way of collecting revenue. So you find that if you are not facilitating the revenue officers to collect revenue for you, how will you be in position to collect this revenue? How will you be in position to generate what you are expecting? So to me, in that area, the city authority needs to ensure that they allocate adequate revenue towards the revenue mobilization, because that's where you're going to get revenue. So at the end of the day, the political wing and the technical wing should work hand in hand to appreciate the role of revenue mobilization. And this one goes also to, I don't know if Mbale City has been able to establish a fully fledged revenue department, and removing it from the finance office, because if you have a revenue department, then you'll be in position to assign roles, but also even having revenue officers that are supposed to collect revenue, that are supposed to sensitize people, not to collect if you have machines or the digital systems, but they are supposed to follow up, sensitize, because sensitization is continuous. But you find that the only time the taxpayers are seeing the revenue officers is when they are collecting revenue. There is not money allocated on radio talk shows to ensure that people are sensitized. There is no barazas or community dialogues that brings on board people to understand, but also even engage. You find that when you come to the budget processes, which is supposed to start from the village level, the parish level, sub-county level, and then the district level, it is not inclusive. People cannot, but people are not given the priority to set their priorities in the budget processes. So you find that they cannot associate with the revenue collected from them, because most of, as our sister indicated, most of the revenue is coming from the central government, which I don't know what Mbale is contributing, but it is between, according to the Auditor General report, most of the local governments are contributing between 1% and 5%. Almost 87 is coming from the central government through the equalization grant, the condition grants, and unconditional grants, and others. So you find that those central government transfers are conditional in one way or the others, and they are denying the opportunity to the citizens to get accountability from their leaders. And that makes them to distance themselves. That social contract between the local government and the citizen, due to the revenue or the tax they collect from them and the services they are expecting from them, is thin, because local governments are collecting inadequate revenue from their sources, and a big portion of revenue is got from the central government.
Aloysius, thank you very much. You've really expounded on it quite well, and I'm impressed. I think you're picking where the conversation is headed now. I just want to. I know you
Yes.
have like 2 or 3 areas to respond to that Aloysius has raised, but just to ask you, what measures probably have you put in place to enhance this revenue mobilization for the city?
Well, thank you so much. Aloysius has really put it very right. There are many issues there about revenue collection, local revenue. First, I will start with they mentioned it earlier on that mobilization. We are having no vehicle, no even a motorcycle to do the collection of these monies, to do the monitoring. Like you have to put money where you expect, where you get money. So we have to see that we mobilize, we get the way of collecting that money. Then the mindset. We need to have to change the mindset. You know, we've really come from the municipality and its habits, and this is a city, and some of our employees, we are still thinking in a municipality manner. That's how we got problems and sensitization of our taxpayers. Just like Aloysius mentioned, the priorities, the bigger monies for these cities from property rates. If we collected enough property rates, then I don't see where our local revenue can be low like that. And the hotel tax, with street parking, we have a lot of this thing. And then the market, but the data, the municipality, the data that we've been having was not sufficient enough. And right now, I just want to go straight to the proposed interventions that we will put in place as a city to see that we improve on this local revenue. One, we have migrated to fully migration to IRAS. We are using IRAS system, integrated revenue administration system of all of the taxable utilities in the city. We've accepted with that. We are moving on that so that all our monies are collected on the IRAS, and as we shall be on IRAS, all the collections shall be monitored on. It's monitored on a daily basis because it is seen by all of the revenue collectors. They see how much even the monitors, those who the city clerk, the mayor, they see how much money is being collected daily, and the system has the capacity to generate real-time reports. So those are the things that we've gone to in the city that maybe will improve the collection. And the city now has gotten its own the variation law is still having some smaller problems, though it is done. But like you said, politically and technically, we have to be one person to see that the variation law is put right. We had a problem of variation law passing it, and yet it is already done because we are assisted by our partners from USMID. They worked for us on that operational role. It is a big work, but we got money from there. We are done it, but politically and technically we're not rhyming because of people thought there is a lot of money. We had put it at 80%, and some politicians were saying no, with the influence of the property owners, that it is high, but it wasn't high. Only that the system that have been in, the old system of municipality, they were just collecting money, negotiating. There was a negotiation of property rates, and then the money would not come out properly like now if we were to put on IRAS. But now that it was on IRAS, people thought that they put a lot of money, the percentage was high, but that is the good percentage for this city. We've also gotten, there is a reliable database now based on the improved revenue registers. We shall generate now the data, the reliable data. We are capturing it right now in the city, and this will promote the reliable budgets, better decisions making, better planning, and efficient service delivery. We are also planning, there is timely assessment of business for trading license. Henceforth will be put all into consideration. We shall have to enumerate all business in the city and update on every year. So we are looking at those changes in the city, and we've in this structure, the city has just we've just made the city structure. We have a fully fledged revenue department officers who are going to focus to help on this revenue collection, to help maximizing revenue collections. And then we are looking at database. These revenue officers are going to collect all of the data for all of the revenue that we have in the city. And I think we are going to handle those issues in the city very well, because now we have the officers in charge of revenue. So we are going to see that there's gonna be improvement. If that is in place, in charge, the head of department of revenue, they are there. And then given this IRAS system, we shall be monitoring this local revenue. I believe we are going to improve on the revenue. And we've even also introduced some taxes from bus parks and taxis. We are also collecting some money there. The challenge in the market, our market is big, and we are supposed to collect a lot of revenue from there. But again, we've been having right now, the officers are going they are making evaluations in the market. We are head counting people who are in the market working from there, the owners of the stores, owners of pitches, owners of those open spaces, lockups, to have data, the rightful data in the market, so that we can collect taxes. Because some people have been dodging taxes, they have been closing their lockups from year in, year out. We don't know the owner. And right now we are saying we should be in the market, and the team is already there to do the head counting of the people in the market, people who have lockups, and they should pay the taxes. So I believe.
Right there, are you finding any resistance in collecting this data? Are you
problem in the
any resistance from the lockup owners and all the people you're collecting data from? Are you getting any resistance? And if any, how are you managing it?
Of course, the resistance, there is not much resistance in the market on collecting data, because all the stores are there, they are numbered. We have all of the numbers of the stores. So it is now establishing the owners of the stores, and then we get up, and of course we know the rates that they are supposed to pay per store, per lockup, by pitches. We know them. We know how much they are to pay. So they are numbered. We are having no problem with collecting the data.
Thank you very much, Freddie. I'll get back there. I just want to bring on Emily. Emily, you've had Lunyoros highlight out the strategies and all that they're trying to deploy in resource mobilization. I just want to ask, how will the leadership of Mbale City ensure that the expenditure is managed efficiently and effectively?
Thank you, Damian. The leadership of Mbale City will ensure that the money is collected are expended on the rightful items in the budget by working hand in hand with the technocrats to ensure that the budget lines or whatever has been allocated in the budget is where the money is going. In most cases, the issues of emergencies that could lead to the diversion of the money meant for the budget. But this year round, like the secretary has stated, we are working closely with the technical team to ensure that the money that comes in are channeled to the rightful activities to ensure that our budget is realized, not just in book. And that one also is being done by making sure that the project that we have, like we earlier mentioned, came from the grassroots. I know Aloysia has mentioned that it is difficult to prioritize the needs of the people from the village level to the city level. But I think for us as Mbale City, we have tried because we started from the village level, we had barazas up to the city level before coming up with our budget. So we know when we work hand in hand with the technical team to make sure the money that is spent is strictly from according to the budget, we are going to realize our targets.
Quickly, I just want you to also run me down from the political wing. What do you think have been the current economic challenges of the people of Mbale, and probably how can they be captured or addressed in the budget? This should have been one of the first. But yeah.
Current economic challenges of Mbale City. As we very well know, like in Mbale City, the biggest percentage of the city is the rural setting, whereby our people have been basically depending on the farming. And with the floods that occurred last year in August, again, others followed in September, others have been following up this April. Most of the productions have been damaged by the floods and the hailstones. So that has made us to go back. The people have been facing it rough, especially those who had gotten agriculture loans to ensure that they finance their farming, and being the backbone of most of our people. Economically, they have not been doing well. And also, like we mentioned, why we are prioritizing the road network is because these floods also have affected much of our roads. And we believe that once they are worked on, the issue of transportation will be easy for our people, especially those transporting their produce, to ensure that when they are sold, the challenges will be minimized.
Additional, I want to make some additional. Additional, the challenges that Mbale City has been facing was economically. The challenges were, of course, like everywhere, the hit up of COVID. People were not working, people were at home, the businesses collapsed. Some businesses collapsed, and it was a setback. Therefore, they have just come from there, and immediately they came out of that. Floods also came in, and those were some of the economical challenges, the setback of our people in Mbale City.
Yeah, thank you very much for pointing out those. Now, Aloysius, let me bring you in this area. Looking at those challenges that have been pointed out, and you know that now probably we could say the city is trying to recover from the pandemics and all those climate-related issues that have been pointed out. I just want to ask, how can the budget be used to support the growth and probably the development of the small scale and the medium enterprises in Mbale, to be able to see that in the long run, they then can be able to collect revenue from them?
can come again. I'm joined by my planner now, John Moses, and that would be a very good question for him. Please, can you? Yeah.
John, we missed you.
Oh, sorry, don't engage me.
We can give you the opportunity to just say hello to us and a brief introduction, then we usher you into the conversation.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, viewers. Thank you for having brought us on board for this engagement. I know it is a wonderful one. I've missed the first session of it, but I'm available this evening. My name is John Moses, in charge of city planning.
Thank you. John, before I go to there's a question that I pointed out, but let me just try to leave for now. Maybe I'll ask you the second question. But I just want to speak directly into this one. How will the leadership of Mbale City ensure that the budget is allocated fairly and equitably across the different sectors? That you pointed out quite a number of issues that you're supposed to work on.
Yes. The leadership many times are the overall in the budgeting process. For us, the technical part, we appropriate according to needs. And then when the leaders look through the budget proposal, they have their role to look at areas that maybe have been omitted or are missing, and then they make their revisions to the effect that it calls for appropriate allocations.
Thank you. And then I can ask you, because we're picking from the different challenges that the city is facing, the city is trying to recover from the challenges that have been through COVID, then the challenges of the floods and all this. So that's why I was asking, Lunyolo felt probably you could be the best person to answer this question before Aloysius comes in. How can the budget? Yes, before Aloysius comes in, I want John to first respond to it. How can the budget be used to support the growth and development of small and medium-sized enterprises for the city? To be able to then collect revenue from those enterprises.
Well, thank you so much.
I want John to.
Leaders.
Oh, sorry. How can the budget? Sorry.
Yeah, I was asking, how can the budget be used to support the growth and development of those small and medium enterprises? Because now those will be your targets for tax and revenue collection. But then the budget also should support them to be able to probably be able to stand, solidify, make money, and probably pay the revenues. How can the budget support them? Or how have you aligned the budget to support them? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. You remember very well that in budgeting, we allocate according to the needs or priorities. And if we have discovered that the small, medium enterprises have key challenges that affect them in their growth, say maybe training, maybe sensitization, then the Department of Trade is allocated funding to deliver those gaps that are entirely affecting the business community. And in future, when they are implemented, those interventions planned, honestly, they will look forward to growth. Thank you.
Thank you. Aloysius, can you get in here and try to have your thoughts on this?
Thank you very much. And thank you, the previous presenters. You asked me about the challenges, the rural setting annexes that were added on the city. To me, the challenge is that the city authority is supposed to sensitize and sensitize, because those are some of the consequences of attaining the city status, and even other levels of development, because they were added on the municipality to enlarge and reach the city status. So if they are not understanding how the city operates, then revenue should be allocated towards sensitization. How can they ensure that these people are sensitized beyond, because they shouldn't just based on the radio talk shows they have. You might find that people are not engaged, are not listening, but they should be there. They should work with the community development officers to identify how they can sensitize the people, to appreciate the development, but also even understand that they have a role to play in terms of tax or revenue generation. So to me, that problem should be more of sensitizing the people to understand. When it comes to the agricultural areas and the loans, I remember my colleague was trying to highlight the loans that have been attained to be able to develop agriculture. To me, I know we have a challenge. We were failed. I don't want to use that, but the killing of cooperatives failed development in one way or the other. But I can say that they should use the associations that are there to see what they want and then be able to plan accordingly. Because if you say that what do you want, they will be positioned to highlight. We need fertilizers. We need improved road. And this takes me to the question I had in my mind when I was listening of my sister who was the deputy mayor, or I didn't, Emily, who was trying to say that the budget was inclusive. I don't know, just me and you, and even that for the benefit of the listeners, what if you go down there and you ask the people, what were your priorities? You might find that their priorities were not factored in at the end. And yet the budget process allows people to set their priorities at the village level. And if those priorities cannot be worked on with the finances they have at the village level, they are pushed to the parish level. And if they cannot be worked on the parish level, they are pushed to the sub-county level. So you find that some of those priorities should be reflected in the budgets, and people can say, really, this is our priority. And on my recommendation on that is that the city should identify, apart from the general service delivery, should identify iconic service. If it is like having a truck for collecting garbage, even if they have that joint play or private doing, the government is also doing, like KCCA does, you might say that this truck which is collecting garbage was as a result of the local raised revenue, so that people can see it and appreciate that really this is our revenue. So to me, I think they need to identify some of the iconic services which they can attach on the revenue collected from the people. On the issues of the SMEs to be supported, it takes me even to the same issue of the budget process. The question is, were they consulted? Do the commercial officers participate in the budget processes effectively? Do they carry the people's priorities? What are some of the challenges? Because they know better. What are some of the challenges these SMEs are facing? Is it electricity? Is it roads? Because if you don't have access to electricity, they won't be positioned to add value. If they don't have access to good roads, they will be hampered in terms of doing trade. So the entire process is on the budget process, where the SMEs, as one of the identified taxpayers, consulted and were able to prioritize and including their priorities within the budget process. Because if they are there, even if one or two, because we know finance is not enough at all level, but how are you ensuring that at least one or two of the critical priority from those different players or the SMEs were included into the city budget framework paper, so that the people can appreciate that really part of our issue were considered.
Thank you very much, Aloysius, and also to our viewers who are following this conversation. We are on Civic Space TV. This conversation happens every Monday afternoon on Civic Space. We call it the community show conversation, where we bring you conversations across the different regions of the country. And today we are in Mbale city, where we have a program on reclaiming civic space for self-led influencing in Mbale city. And of course, we are joined by John. John is a city planner of Mbale City, John Moses. We have Lunyoro, she's a Secretary of Finance for the city. We have Emily, who is a Deputy Lord Mayor, and Aloysius works with Siatini, who are joining us into this conversation. John, you've not had an opportunity to give us more of your thoughts. You've just had Aloysius share, and I saw you nodding your head. I think you are agreeing on some issues, and probably say, okay, that was discussed, but probably we omitted or we added it. But I just want to ask you, what role can probably the public-private partnerships play in the implementation of the budget? Because we are trying to look at the SMEs involvement and all these stakeholders. But I want to that, and also for purposes of resource mobilization.
Thank you very much. As Mbale City, I believe very well that working with partnership is one way of effective delivery of the services to the community whom we serve. And many times we have signed a number of understandings with the private partners on the delivery of areas like, say, wash and health and education. We have signed for road maintenance. We have signed for garbage collection. So that means that they have a key role. They contribute to our effective service delivery, meaning that in the event where we don't have enough capacity, that understanding prevails, and then we see the results where community enjoy as our stakeholders. Thank you.
Lunyero, do you have to add?
Maybe on the part of what Aloysius was tickling about whether commercial office understands our private sector right and we plan accordingly their issues. That one, I want to emphasize that we do it in consultation, and most of their presentations to the stakeholders, like at budget conference, is a representative of the needs that come from the private sector. So they do present their voices adequately.
Thank you. Okay, this is a general question, and probably I would want to pick your mind, each one of you, just to enrich this conversation. What strategies can we probably what strategies can be employed to promote social inclusion and also reduce poverty through the budget?
All of us?
Yeah. Each one of you can your thoughts on it. Yes.
Damian, is it okay if you can pose the question again?
I'm saying, what strategies can we employ to promote social inclusion and reduce poverty through the budget?
The strategies that we can use for social inclusion and reduce poverty in our community, they are very clear. Just like social inclusion, we need to sensitize, like Aloysius mentioned. We have to really continue sensitizing our people over and over, so that we include them in the programs that we are going to, the city intends to do. They should be aware about those programs, fully aware. That is what we are lagging behind. We need to sensitize our people to change their mindset to know that they are now in the city, and to know that they are included in the programs that we do. They are part of the programs. That one, they will be very happy. Whichever comes, they will know it is our ideas that has brought this, rather than just bringing for them things that they don't know that we have just planned for them. That one will make them happy, and they will work very hard. Whichever, if we are to inject money there, they will work very hard to see that the poverty, they eradicate the poverty, because this poverty is in the community. It is the community that we have to handle, and they have to know, just like now that we are handling like PDM. People they have really educated people to know money for PDM, what they are supposed to use it for, and of course it is aiming at eradicating poverty, but they have really sensitized them. Every person is, every PDM is at the fingertips wherever they are, and then they know it is going to do what? To eradicate poverty. That is the system that cities should use on the local revenue, and the only programs that we take to them, so that they know it is our program.
Is the PDM working?
Very well. We just launched it in Mbale. We launched it sometimes. Some groups got money. Others, if you came to Mbale City and visited our banks here, they are fledged with the people. They sit there even up to 9 in the night. They are waiting for the money.
Waiting for the money. But is the money available?
Yes, they are waiting for the money. Yeah. The money is very much available, and we are only praying that they are going to utilize it fully to the intended the intended mission that the government has put it for.
Yes, but on my part, as planner, I am very well convinced that we are implementing government programs, projects, policies. Now, policies of government that are geared to addressing the change or the vulnerable, Mbale City is not leaving it out. PDM implementation, like what the Secretary Finance has alluded to, it's one program that is targeting the other 39% of the poor, so that they are not left out. And Mbale City is also rolling it out. So that means that it's one policy of government that Mbale City has taken on seriously, and we are seeing its implementation successfully. Then two is that we have been guided many times that integrate HIV mainstreaming in your work plans. You get it? Now that one goes without, we have to look for money and factor it in all our work plans, irrespective of a sector, irrespective of whatever. And that means that at implementation, you must go in for that targeted intervention, which you planned for in your work plan to see that you deliver. And then it means you are addressing leaving no one behind. So by doing so, in implementation of our policies and programs, we are trying to say we don't want to leave anyone behind. Thank you.
Right there, John, there is while we were making a needs assessment, we had the people with disabilities who were complaining that their lockups were taken, and I don't know how far that has gone to ensuring that they have their workplaces, because there's of course there's also revenue, they also pay taxes, and they'll be paying taxes very soon. So I don't know whether some of their needs have been met. Maybe at some point Simon on call will respond to how far that intervention has gone.
Okay. For the PWDs lockups.
The PWDs what?
Lockups that they were taking.
Yeah, the issue is the maximum. Yeah, their workplace had been locked and they've been still struggling to have it. Yeah.
In Mbale City.
In Mbale City. Simon, are you called?
We haven't heard of that in Mbale City. We haven't heard. because whether PD, whether PWDs, whether what, or they were, or whoever was allocated lockup, there is no, they would not remove the any lockup from anybody. We are only trying to head count, to streamline the market, the management, the owners, to know, we want to know who owns who owns what, where, so that we can get the taxes properly. But we've not removed any lockup yet from anybody.
I don't know. Maybe Simon, once Simon gets on, you'll be able to respond to that, probably to shed more light on it. Emily, do you have your thoughts on this conversation around inclusion? Emily?
Yes, Damian. I'm sorry, I had an emergency. I had to go off a bit. Maybe if it is okay, you can help me pose the question again.
No, we're just asking how can we probably strategize and use the budget to promote social inclusion and reduce poverty?
Okay. First and foremost, like Aloysius had pointed before, ensuring that the budget is done right from the village level or to the city level. It will help us to know the real priorities of our people down there, and also ensure that we put them in budget. Then we have to do sensitization, like he said, sensitization. For people to know what is going on, because communication is important. To help reduce this, the poverty within the area, is also to sensitize our people that even when we are doing these things, we are expecting to get some money from the government, and also taxes from the people themselves. We have to also empower them to carry out various economic activities and support them where necessary to see that we are on board, because what the government provides and whatever we do as a city cannot alone alleviate people from poverty unless they also participate and carry out economic activities that can generate money for the households.
Yeah, Emily, and maybe just I addressed the question here, but I remember while we were doing our needs assessment, the last time in Mbale, the PWDs had an issue of their land being sold off, but also they had the issue of the market lockups for the PWDs being grabbed, and so I don't know whether that issue was resolved.
So many things have been followed up, and I know in the next, during this data collection, like the secretary has mentioned, it is after ascertaining the owners of these lockups that the issue of the lockups for the PWDs shall be handled. And on the issue of the land, our area land committees are working on it, and we shall update you on the progress. Yeah, but we are working on it.
John and Lunyolo sounded like they hadn't heard of that, but I think maybe it was a little more political than it is technical for them. So maybe it hadn't hit their office yet. Yes.
There is that land. I just want to talk about the land that was given to PWDs in Mbale district. In fact, by then there was a district councillor at Mbale district, and we came up with a minute. They needed an office, and they were allocated a plot to construct their offices there. But when things changed, the city and district, that land, I think, has been grabbed from them. I think that should be the plot that they are really lamenting over.
Yes, I don't know.
Yes.
Is there support being provided to them to that effect?
I hope it will be there, especially we are expecting to share these assets between the district and the city. We shall regain that place, I believe.
Okay.
Damian,
Yes.
to add on what the secretary is saying, I know this issue was raised when we were in our last meeting in Ocean Wheels. Yeah. So the secretary and the other technical team, like I said, some of the persons on the area land committees are handling. Yeah, we just need to update them. Secretary, after here, I will give you the details about it so that for proper follow-up and monitoring, but it is being worked on.
Yeah, thank you. I also have one of the, because I'm trying to pick from that, there's the issue of vendors on the streets. How, as a city planner, John, what plans do you have for them in this budgeting? Do you have any plans for them?
Yes, actually, the street vendors are actually not supposed to be there by law, because we have built markets which are big enough to accommodate all. But simply because by mindset issues, they find that the streets are alternative areas where they can do business. And for us, we are saying, if they left the streets, we can allocate them still space. But even some of them have already space in the markets, which were built to contribute to improvement of the welfare operations of the vendors. But they have left that space and they are on the streets.
Honestly,
so in the circumstances, we don't support them being on the streets.
Yeah, honestly, I've had chance to move to Mbale for quite a number of years, and back then the city used to be one of the cleanest. Yes. Today it is the opposite, and it is even worsening. I don't know, as a city planner, what plans do you have for it to going forward? Because it is really, and now with all the vendors pouring on the market, bringing all their foodstuffs on the market, blocking off the road streets. What plans do you have for the city? Because they have really messed up the city.
No, sorry. Now, as a planner, what I know very well that memory of yours still reminds you, not only you, but all those who were there at that time. The truth is that for an urban place to reflect whether it is organized or what, it is the road infrastructure. If it is already done, then honestly, it will make an impact on the trade order organization within the city. Now, I remember we are under the transition. We got some support from the Uganda Municipal Infrastructure Development, USMID. So we are doing a number of roads. Now, should the roads be done, obviously we shall get our city organized to the level of attractiveness if it means maintaining the road, sweeping, cleaning, and that beauty can easily be regained. But about doing business, we are not about chasing people who are, we are not in support of those people who are hawking or who are doing business on streets because they keep blocking travelers, and they become an insecurity themselves, because at the end of it, that is where crime is committed, because it's not organized. Everybody wants to do business on the street. So we want them to, we are even advocating for more construction of market infrastructure. If government can give us another hand, because we have identified partnerships to do for us, Mbale, we have identified partnerships to do for us in the northern side, Samaga. So if those markets could be done, I know we shall organize all these traders to go there so that they do their business in a more organized tone and where they can even tap greater income.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Additional to that, we are also not comfortable in Mbale City with these street vendors. Street vending has brought us problems because even our taxpayers are saying we are getting hardship in the taxes collected because they say the same items we sell in the shops are the same items these vendors are selling, moreover cheaply. They don't meet this the rents, the what. So they are causing us a big problem, but like my plan has said, we are looking at our roads. After finishing our roads in the city, these people, we have to deal with them. We have to get them off the roads. Because like recently, we were benchmarking in Mbarara. We didn't see, Mbarara is very clean. These vendors are not there. And we've adopted all of the things that we saw in Mbarara to here Mbale City, and we are going to work on them. We want to see that they are off those roads.
Okay, that's a good one. We hope that Mbale really gets back to its its mark. Yeah, you the city that the town that we know as the cleanest in the country. I don't know, Aloysius, do you have thoughts on this as because we are getting into the final bit of it? We have like 2 issues to have, then we conclude.
Thank you. And thank you, my colleagues. To me, when it comes to what strategies can be employed or deployed to promote social inclusion and reducing of poverty, one of my proposal is that there's a need for greater accountability and transparency to the taxpayers. And to me, I think if the city authority can be able to be accountable to the people, they will be in position to appreciate how tax is a tool for development. Because if they don't see that linkage of how much has been generated, at least per quarter, going beyond pinning how much was collected on the notice board and even putting it in the media, but also in the different languages, because at the end of the day, we are trying to build our area of revenue mobilization. So to me, I think they should be in position to ensure that there is a greater accountability to the taxpayers. To me, in terms of budget reduction, there is a need to ensure that more funds is allocated towards the developmental expenditures within the city. Those development expenditures or activities should be identified and money should be given or money should be allocated to those areas so that you can increase productivity within the city where you can generate more revenue. But you find that even the little we collect from locally raised revenue or own source revenue is more allocated to the administration. And you find that little is being allocated to the development expenditures, making it difficult for you to generate more revenue, hence depending on the central government. So to me, I think priority should be given more to the development expenditures, which can generate more revenue for the city. But also, I've had my colleagues who are trying to talk about the street issue and the vendors. I know it is an issue, but also even we can use it as an opportunity and do it like Kampala doing it. You say at least that day you can announce that people who are interested in working on the streets, you cut some of the streets and say you can use this street and the other street and the other street to generate revenue, and you get your money from that just one day, and you get more revenue from the people. But you ensure that their within their the markets that are being constructed. Because actually, when you look at the Trading License Act, it requires at least everyone to be within a designated area for proper development, but also even ensuring that people who are paying trading license are benefiting. If you give the priority to the vendors who are selling the same commodity to like those ones who are in the market, it is a problem or a cost to those ones who are doing business within the market. So to me, they should fight to ensure that they are removed, but also creating that window whereby they can say this day we can give them one opportunity to work, and then you collect revenue. So to me, I think it is a two-sided where you can go ahead and use it, but also use it as a sword in one way or the other, a double-edged sword. I don't know how Mbale is doing it. I don't know if this is going to be within the next two issues which you want to highlight, but when it comes, I will be in position to add more. But there is a need for dialogue between the taxpayers and the authority. You find that some of the people don't understand why they are paying taxes. Those specific taxes, the market dues, the fees, the stall fees, the trading license, and others. So to me, I think you should create that dialogue where people can give you their point of view, but also even collect them or give them what they are supposed to get from the authority. But also, I was looking at, there are some cities that are looking at having exhibitions as a source of revenue. So how are you planning to have those exhibitions? And say, because I know Mbale is good in terms of Mbale and others, Akadodi, how can you market those ones? How can you ensure that you have websites that are trading Mbale City, Akadodi, Mbale, and others which you are doing better, so that you generate more revenue? Because if you don't have revenue, you will not be in position to support people in terms of developmental expenditures, but also even providing services. Because at the end of the day, what you want to see is that revenue collected from you, people will be positioned to have access to good roads, street lights, access to medical services, among others. But you find that you don't have enough revenue, so you'll not be in position to provide for the services that are needed from you. And lastly, I was looking at inclusion in one way or the other in terms of development. Under the Property Rating Act, there is a proposal under section 37, subsection 234, whereby they're saying that 75% of the money collected from property tax should be influenced by the Property Owners Association or the rate property associations, whereby they should drive what they want to see. The property owners like hotels, property owners like lodges, and others, they should be influencing the utilization of the money collected from them. But do we have the Property Owners Association, which is active and they do influence? Because if that window is there, I'm going to tell you, the property owners are going to join on board and they will be in position to pay taxes, because they see that in this financial year, we requested for street lights on this street at least, and next year we will request for street lights on the other street. And you indicated clearly that this year or this financial year, we are going to give you street lights based on the money collected from property owners. I know we have a problem of the physical re-decentralization, whereby you might even find that the money collected now from property tax is taken to the center and it's going as a total revenue collected. And you cannot remove the 75% and then the 25% which is supposed to be done doing administration. But that one should be clear so that you can bring your taxpayers on board. They do appreciate, they will be in position to do business, and then you'll be in position to collect more revenue, even easier than how it is now.
Thank you very much, Aloysius, for those kind submissions. And they're quite technical and good for the conversation. You've enriched the conversation so broadly. I need to John and Lunyoro, I want to bring you here. It should be one of the final, the last questions I'm asking. How can the leadership of the city ensure that the budget is transparent and accountable to the citizens? I'm asking this. But also, I see Aloysius has pointed out a few of these measures, but I want to pick from your angle. How have you ensured that this budget will be transparent and accountable to the citizens? If any, how do you plan to achieve it? Emily, I just wanted to find out how will you ensure that the budget is transparent and is accountable to the citizens?
Damian, about the budget, we have always had the chance to have the budget conferences, which start from the village level, whereby we go and inform our people of how we planned the previous year and what we have so far done, and where we have failed to do, and the challenges that led to not fulfilling all the pledges in our budget. So we see that one of the areas is that holding those conferences, the barazas, and also on the talk shows. And whenever we also go, especially as the political leaders, we have always told our people down there of whatever we are doing. And we have encouraged them to always come up to inquire, because they know, most of them know what we are doing. And we encourage them to inquire to know why they have not seen what they expected to see. And we have always provided them answers. And also we have the public accounts committee in place that also follows up these things, and they always also come up with their reports, and they always let them before media, before the public, so they also know whatever is going on.
Thank you very much. Maybe, yeah, this could be the final question I'm asking, and probably also Aloysius could you might have to, you just have to respond if you can, but also while you respond, you also give your final closing remarks. Emily, how do you think through your budgeting you'll be able to address the issues of now we are in the era of climate change, and now Mbale is more affected. So how do you think the budget will be able to respond to some of these climate change issues, including that you had hit by floods almost all the time?
Yes, Damian, in our budget, we have the component of, I think I had the book here. We have the component of environment. And that area of environment, we are ensuring that we need to plant trees around the schools, around hospitals, along the roads, major institutions, and we are also passing around the message to the community to ensure that as the planting their foods, those are along the mountain slopes, they have to do the contouring, the terraces, and also encouraging them to do the mulching, so that we can see that the effect of climate change is not diverse on our community, and we see that if possible, we can avert it in the future.
Thank you.
So we are, yeah, that is what we are doing currently.
Thank you, Emily, for being with us here. Aloysius, your thoughts and closure?
Thank you very much. And I want to concur with Emily on the issues of accountability, that it should be given to to the people and should be given consideration, because if you don't provide accountability to the people, they will not, that social contract will not be in place. But also I would love to add on that one that budget should be inclusive, and people should link their priorities to the tax collected from them. But most of the time you find that there is a thin link between the priorities that are set. Emily, you can concur with me, at all levels, and what is being considered. And people can, if you go to the people, you might find that they're saying, we need a borehole, we need water here, we need good roads, we need this and this. But you find that it is not considered, and that explanation is not given to them, that this is not being given, but we are going to consider it in the next financial year, so that people can feel that their priorities are considered. So to me, it should be inclusive to ensure that people can appreciate their role as taxpayers. On the climatic issue, I don't know now, because now it is a global thing and even a national issue. To me, I think Mbale should, in addition to what Emily was trying to highlight, they should have a plan. They should develop a plan, and that plan should be or put on the website or be presented to the developmental partners, so that they can at least fund beyond the local raised revenue and what is coming from the center. Because at the end of the day, you might find that you have good plans, but they are not known. How can you ensure that those plans are stipulated within your master plan on climate issues or climate change issues, so that people can understand, all those ones who are interested in a particular area of support, they can support you in one way or the other. While I'm concluding, I want to thank you, Damian and the team, for this opportunity you have given CIT in Uganda, and the team from the Mbale municipality. And to me, what I can say is that cities were developed, or we elevated from municipalities to the city, and we have challenges which we cannot run away from, but we have to find solutions for those challenges. So in one way or the others, let us make development inclusive, so that people can feel that they are part of this development, than you leaving them behind. Because at the end of the day, they are the people who are supposed to support you in generation of local revenue. But also, I know that some of the cities have moved, some of the local governments have moved from the traditional way of revenue mobilization after joining the ILAS and others. But to me, I would love to request that the issue of enumeration and registration should be given a key priority, and more money should be allocated to the enumeration and registration of the taxpayers. Assessment should be given priority, and assessment shouldn't be done by anyone, but by the committee where the IRS is not applicable. And people should be given an opportunity to debate when it comes to over-assessment. I am requesting and also proposing that a comprehensive revenue register should be developed to inform the city on how much they can generate. Because if you know how much you are generating, you cannot tell me that I was unable to meet that when you know your potential taxpayers. And sensitization should be given a priority, so that people can understand. We know tax changes every day and then, but also they need to know, they need to be engaged. Debate should be created. And also a tax tribunal should be established where people can go and appeal in case of any disagreement on what has been assessed from them. So to me, at the end of the day, we need to ensure that the local revenue management cycle is followed as per Local Government Act, where now the ILAS is not applicable, because I know the ILAS has the magic bullets when it comes to some of the committees and assessment, whereby even now local governments are using the ILAS to add on the income tax, what we call the presumptive tax, but also the local service tax, which is supporting in revenue collection. So where the ILAS is not applicable, the local revenue management process should be active.
Yes, I was saying thank you very much, Aloysius, for those technical words. Quite deep, and we've really learned so much from them. And I know Emily has a lot of issue pointers that she has picked that she will share with a bigger group. But also importantly, Emily, thank you very much for always being part of us, sharing your leadership of Mbale with us, and all your time that you've always had for us. Thank you very much. But also importantly also is to Moses and the team, thank you very much for being a part of this conversation, sharing with us the developments in Mbale, the budgeting that has happened, the taxation that regimes that you're deploying. This conversation is ongoing. We shall revisit and have this ongoing, and see to it that probably, and also we shall have a time where we revisit and see if the budget really being implemented. Is it really achieving the intended objectives? Also to Simon, I don't know whether you had a word to say, but from me and to my crew that has been on the call, I would want to say good evening to the viewers and keep following Civic Space TV. Simon, do you have anything to share? Okay.
Yes, good evening to the team that has presented. My name is Simon Pito Kadapa. I'm the project officer from Mbale City. I would really like to thank the Mbale team, that is the city planner, the secretary of finance, and the deputies, I mean city mayor, and also the team, the member from Sitiani. The conversation has been so engaging, and we promise that I'll always make sure that I follow up on the several issues that we have discussed here to see to it that they are all implemented. I thank you very much, and I'm always humbled to work with you. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you. Simon, I thought you'd also share the logistical bits of it, because, we've used our data. So if we need to know that we'll have a reimbursement.
Yeah, as I already discussed with them at an individual level, but that stage, there will be a reimbursement of data of 200,000 shillings to each panelist.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Simon. And I think it is time we signed off from here. Thank you.